Which games are must bets for week 11 of the 2023 NFL season? What's going on, gridiron gamblers, BLVers out there? It's Mitch back here with another week of NFL best bets. This time for week 11, giving you my favorite spread picks for week 11 of this NFL season. Last week, we had a pretty successful week going 4-2, 2 games above 500, continuing to hit above 60%. For the season, we are 33, 24-2, which is about 59%. Let's continue that success with week 11. I will say this week, I just feel is not the easiest for whatever reason. There's a lot of weird lines out there, and I felt a lot of the value has left us already this week. But I'm going to try to find the value that's still available on the board. So if that sounds good, don't forget to spike the like button and subscribe for weekly NFL best bets just like this. You know what to do. Let me know in the comment section below and let me know your best bet for week number 11. Now let's kick it off with Thursday Night Football. It's a rare Thursday Night Football bet, but I like the Bengals getting points plus 3.5 on the road at the Ravens. I bet it at 4, but I still like it at 3.5. Anything above 3, I think is a must bet in this matchup, no matter which team's getting the points. I mean, this is a flip of a coin. This could go either way. It's a coin toss. I think the Ravens are the better team, and they are at home, so I understand why the spread is what it is. But you talk about Ronnie Stanley, left tackle of the Ravens, being out of this game, and Marlon Humphrey, their best corner, being out of this game. So yeah, T. Higgins, Sam Hubbard also missing for the Bengals, but that's the most important offensive piece, not named Lamar Jackson, in my opinion, on the Ravens, even more so than Mark Andrews, and the most important defensive piece, not named Roquan Smith, for the Ravens. So those are just two huge losses for a huge matchup at home. I could see the Bengals, after losing a shocking game versus the Texans at home, coming back and playing really well as an underdog. We know Joe Burrow as an underdog historically is phenomenal, and we know that these two teams just play each other very, very close down to the wire football. I think this will be decided by a field goal. There's not a lot of science. It's two great quarterbacks. It's two familiar foes on a short week with a lot on the line. You're going to get the best punch from both teams, and especially with those guys missing, you could see Trey Hendrickson have a huge game versus Lamar Jackson off the edge because there's no Ronnie Stanley. And you could see Jamar Chase, now that Marlon Humphrey is out, put up huge numbers. Not to mention, I do believe that just in general, taking Joe Burrow off a loss is just a good bet in general. So I will take the Bengals on Thursday night on the short week, plus 3 and the hook. My second best bet for week number 11, I wasn't going to make this a best bet, but the number keeps moving down, and I just don't see why. I understand that Justin Fields is back as the quarterback of the Bears, but you guys know I've made a living off of fading Justin Fields. I'm not about to start now. So Tyson Bagent, whoever he is, he's out of there. Are we really saying that Tyson is that much worse than Justin Fields, especially when it comes to throwing the football? The Detroit Lions are only 7.5 point favorites at home against one of the worst teams in the NFL that nearly lost to the Carolina Panthers. So I get it. Justin Fields is back. Oh, hippie Kaye. Okay, that's great. The Lions are a really good team. We're going to look at another game that's very similarly priced with a similar spread. 7 points, Jacksonville at home versus Tennessee. If we just look at it that way, Detroit's better than Jacksonville, and Tennessee's better than the Bears. So you're saying the spread is the same? I don't really understand that. Now, maybe I'm missing something. Maybe I'm stepping in it. But Detroit can move the football no matter how you can stop them. If you're good against the run, which the Bears are, they can pass the ball. They'll use their run game as a bit of a threat, and they'll play action you to death. We've seen that week after week after week. Jared Goff's playing at a top 10 level. PFF's actual number 1 graded quarterback this season is Jared Goff. Amon-Ra is unstoppable, and there's no one in the slot here. Kyler Gordon is not that guy who's going to slow down Mr. St. Brown. And the defense of the Lions performs much better at home and much better against a one-dimensional offense. They're really good against the run, the Lions. That's what they do. They're not good against the pass, and especially they're going to be able to tee off on Justin Fields if they get the lead. Justin Fields is not a timing rhythm passer like Justin Herbert. I'm not worried about the weakness of the Lions, their pass defense being diced up here, because Fields is not that type of quarterback. Give me the Lions -7.5 to cover this number at home. That is best bet number 2. Best bet number 3 is, I'm going with another big spread. The Dallas Cowboys on the road at the Carolina Panthers, favored by over 10. But this should be like 13, 14 points. I don't understand why the Dallas Cowboys are only 10.5-point favorites against the second worst team in the NFL. And the only reason the Carolina Panthers are the second worst and not the worst team is because Tommy DeVito plays for the New York Giants. That's the only reason. Bryce Young is going to be under fire all day long. They can't block the Dallas Cowboys. It's not going to happen. Micah Parsons, these guys are going to be in the backfield constantly. The Panthers can't run the ball. I'm not worried about that. They don't have any receivers. I'm not worried about that. Dallas is going to man them up and blitz all day, and Bryce Young's going to have nowhere to go but take a sack. I don't know how many points the Panthers are going to score in this game. I don't know if they're going to get above 14, to be honest with you. The only way is if Dallas just comes out sleeping and they don't stop the run. But I don't see that happening. Dallas is taking care of business against teams that are worse than them every single time. Patriots blew them out. Jets blew them out. They blew out the Giants last week. They just blow teams out. That's what they do. They get ahead. Their pass rush continues to dominate, and they just destroy teams. And I understand that most of that has been at home, and they've been weaker on the road. So that is kind of the deal for people backing the Panthers. But okay, yeah, they lost to the Niners and the Eagles on the road. They lost to two of the best teams in the league. They didn't lose to the Carolina Panthers. Dak Prescott's been playing at an MVP level, and CeeDee Lamb is unstoppable right now. On top of Dallas could probably get the run game going here. You know, the Panthers are one of the worst teams against running backs in fantasy and against the run in general. So I see the Dallas Cowboys being balanced, throwing to get the lead, running to keep the lead, and pass rushing to destroy the Panthers. So that is the third best bet. My fourth best bet is the Tennessee Titans, +7 on the road at Jacksonville. The only thing that scares me about this is Tennessee on the road. They have not been a good road team. So I will say that. But we saw this game last year. Josh Dobbs had like a short week. He was the Titans quarterback, and everyone thought Jacksonville was going to win by 1,000 points. The game ended up being a one-score game decided by 4 points last year. The quarterback had no preparation. Tennessee is basically the same team as that team. They have Will Levis here, and Jacksonville's overrated. Let's just call it what it is. Their defense, they're good against the run, but they can be beat down the field vertically. Will Levis, what does he do? He throws the ball down the field. He will make plays. He will make mistakes. He will take sacks, but he'll also make explosive gains. And I see that happening against Jacksonville here to keep them in the game. Derrick Henry will run the ball. He'll have 1 or 2 explosive runs that will get them some points. And then defensively, I just think Mike Vrabel is going to be all over Trevor Lawrence here. Jacksonville can't block. Niners just were in the backfield the whole game. Jacksonville struggled to run the ball. It's not going to happen against Tennessee. Tennessee has good pass rushers. Trevor Lawrence has struggled against pressure all year, and they're just horizontal. They've really realized in Jacksonville they can't get the ball down the field because they don't have enough time to set anything up to get down the field. So Calvin Ridley's been a non-factor. Nobody but Christian Kirk has been beating anybody. And it just feels like if you can't beat the Titans vertically down the field, you can't get enough time against their pass rush, you're dead in the water. Like, you can't score points against the Titans if you can't go vertical, because that is the way you beat the Titans defense. I like the Titans with the points. They should keep this within a touchdown, a divisional foe. You know, they know each other well. This is going to be a tight, low-scoring game, in my opinion, and I'm willing to take the full 7 points in this matchup. My fifth best bet of week number 11. This one's ugly considering they've let a lot of people down the last couple of weeks, but this is the spot you back the New York Jets. They play the Buffalo Bills. They play well against the Buffalo Bills. It is what it is. They beat the Bills in the first week of the season. That was with Aaron Rodgers getting injured. Who would have thought that the Jets would be able to beat the Bills when their quarterback goes down after taking the American flag into the middle of the field on 9/11, and then Zach Wilson comes in and they win the game via punt return in overtime? I mean, who would have thought that? Now, last year they played in Buffalo. The game was decided by 8. It was 20-12. Okay, this game's in Buffalo. Buffalo isn't the same team they were last year. They're not a very good team. They just fired their offensive coordinator. Their defense stinks. That's one of the worst in the league. The Jets ran the ball in week 1. They'll run the ball again here with Breece Hall. It will keep pressure off Zach Wilson. I think Garrett Wilson can eat up any corner that they put opposite him. So I feel like the real problem with the Jets on offense has been penalties. If they just don't get penalized consistently, I think they can put up about 17 to 20 points. And the way the Jets defense plays against the Bills is just a good matchup. They can rush the passer and get after Josh Allen. The Bills can't really run the ball against the Jets front. And then you've got Sauce Gardner and DJ Reed to take on Stephon Diggs and Gabe Davis. It's just a really tough matchup for Josh Allen and this offense. So I think the Jets keep them in this game. It's a must win for the Jets. They'll hang around, but I think ultimately Josh Allen will probably pull it out. But I think it will be at least within that 7. So I'm going to take the full touchdown again in a divisional matchup with the road team. Just feel like the home team sometimes in these divisional matchups are a bit inflated. The road teams, they know how to play in those stadiums. They know what the hotel is like when they go there. Like, there's a lot of advantages that the divisional teams have on the road that I don't think are really priced in here. So I feel like the Jets win or go toe-to-toe with the Bills in this game and make it very, very interesting. The sixth and final best bet is the Kansas City Chiefs on Monday Night Football at home, -2.5 versus the Philadelphia Eagles. It's Patrick Mahomes under a field goal at home in the biggest game of the season with Andy Reid off of a bye. Throughout his career, Andy Reid off of a bye has been historically good, 21-3 throughout his entire career. We saw this matchup in the Super Bowl. The Chiefs did win the game. I thought the Eagles were the better team that day, but one big takeaway I had from that matchup was, first, the dominance of the Chiefs' offensive scheme versus the defense of the Eagles. And secondly, Spags, I felt, made everything difficult on Jalen Hurts. One of the big options in that game for the Eagles was Dallas Goedert. He's not playing in this game. The Chiefs' defense has since grown and become a better unit thanks to their corners. I do think that McDuffie and L'Jarius Sneed will be able to match up with A.J. Brown and Devontae Smith in this game and make things very hard. I think the Chiefs are one of the true teams that could actually play man coverage against the Eagles, and that just opens things up in run defense where Spags, we saw it in the Super Bowl. Jalen Hurts, the run game of the Eagles didn't really go off. It was Hurts throwing for 350, and I just feel like the Chiefs, their defense in the back end has gotten better. Their pass rush has gotten better with guys like Karlaftis and guys like Menahue really becoming better football players. Then you take the neutral field away. You're in Arrowhead with the crowd noise. You take Shane Steichen away, who's now the Colts head coach, and he was a great offensive coordinator for the Eagles. I feel like Spags now has a decisive edge in the coordinator matchup. I would probably predict the Chiefs are going to blitz a lot on third down, which is something that the Eagles have struggled with. And then on offense, why I love it so much is Chiefs at home, and Chiefs got the offensive line to match up with the defensive line, the Eagles. And this is just how you beat the Eagles. If you can block the Eagles, you can beat the Eagles defense. Their secondary is not very good. They play a lot of zone coverage. Mahomes is not going to have to rely on his receivers getting open. They just have to find the spots in the zone, and he'll hit them. And Travis Kelce will likely have Taylor Swift in attendance, so you know he's going for 100 yards. So I got the Chiefs to win, the Chiefs to cover, at least by a field goal. I think it will be a good game. Don't get me wrong. I'm just trying to make the case for Kansas City, and I think it's a clear one. I think this is a really good matchup on paper for a team that I'm not exactly sold on in the Chiefs, but I don't think enough people are taking into account the matchup advantages that the Chiefs have. This is not a team like Miami, who has Jalen Ramsey and has Javon Holland and Xavier Howard. This is a different type of defense that I think they'll be able to move the ball against. And when you give the Chiefs an ability to move the ball, we've already seen what their defense can do, especially when they're at home. So I'm going to go Kansas City as the final best bet. Those are my best bets for Week 11. Hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, Gronk spike the like button, subscribe, and let me know yours in the comment section below. Good luck this week, guys. Peace.